All right, so there's an issue of constant objects and constant methods. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to make a copy of time1.cc to time2.cc. And as you know, we can declare constant objects by simply writing a declaration with the keyword constant. And so now I can use the constant pi, but I cannot change its value. We can do the same thing with the classes that we write. It ends up being a little bit more complicated. So here I've declared a constant called noon. Let me see what happens when I compile this. So it lets me do this. Now clearly there are some operations here that should be legitimate operations for a constant object. So meaning a constant object, I can't change anything about it. And in the case of the time class and time objects, I should not be able to change the hours or the minutes. Well, some of these methods do and some of them don't. So get hours, for example, get minutes, for example, those do not change time objects. Set hours, set minutes, enter, read, add, those change the object. And we should not be able to call those methods on a constant time object. So what we need to do is we are responsible, the programmer is responsible for declaring what methods do not change an object. And we do that by declaring them as being constant methods. So it takes two steps. So first of all, constructors, as you saw, those worked just fine. To declare that get hours is constant, meaning that get hours does not change anything about the object, we use the keyword at the end of the definition. We would also do the same thing for print. We would also do the same thing for write. The constant keyword has to appear in the definition. It also has to appear at the end of the method implementation. In fact, what you should do is you should leave the constant keyword off and see what compiler error you get. Also need one after print, and I also need one after write. So let me just compile this very quickly. Okay, no syntax errors. Now here's what's going to happen. So I've got this object called noon. Let me get rid of all this stuff. And as you can imagine, there should be methods. So I should be able to call all of the constant methods on my time object noon. Oh no. Oh, sorry. It should have been noon instead of time. So there's 12 o'clock. But if I try to call a method that is not declared constant, such as enter, now I'm going to get a syntax error. And it's going to tell me that when I call enter, it discards the constant qualifier. Okay? So in order to declare and use constant methods, in order to declare constant objects, you, the programmer, are responsible for declaring the methods do not change the state of the object. And you do that by declaring them as constant methods. So here's an example of a constant method. And you use the constant keyword in the definition and in the implementation. It has to appear in both places. And then programmers will be able to create constant objects of your class like I did here.